Hi everyone, it's Help Heal Humanity, and today we are at the Good Shepherd. We've made a generous donation, and I want to say thank you to all our donors and everyone in the community who believes in us. This is my dear friend Christopher from high school who works at the Good Shepherd. So go ahead and let our audience know what you're going to do with all of this merchandise.
I just wanted to thank everybody for contributing to us and helping us here through Help Heal Humanity. All this stuff is going to be given out to our guests for free. No one has to pay anything, but thankfully because of you guys and your donations, we're able to put the stuff out for free for our guests to take home and stay warm, especially at this time of the year. The season has changed. The boots are coming in, need to go on people's feet, the jackets on people's backs, all thanks to you guys. So God bless you all and keep it up.
Thank you.
God bless you, sister.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, is right.
Hello, Barbara. It has been so long.
Look at you. You look so beautiful. You did something else with your hair. You look different. Look at you.
I did it just for you in the audience.
Oh, you had to do that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did, for real.
Oh, you look so beautiful. Oh, I feel like it's been forever. I'm just going to be real. It seems like it's been forever since we've been like live.
Yes.
live. So I'm excited, first of all, to see you. Wonderful, wonderful queen of queens. Crown. It's there. Just got to straighten it out sometime, right?
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, thanks. So I think what we wanted to do today, just tell the audience out there that's watching us right now, hello, everybody. If you're just chiming in, this is the Help Heal Humanity show with the wonderful Serena Bufalino. She is the amazing extravaganza of just the world changer of the universe, and the CEO and the founder of Help Heal Humanity. And I'm just Barbara Beckley.
No, you are the wonderful, incredible Barbara Beckley. Sorry. You're the queen of all queens. You have made that term in our circle, in our networks. I've never really called people queens until I started spending time with you and celebrate you and all the women in your networks and on your podcast. And so now you are the queen. Yes, it does. It comes out. And when I think of you and I think of all your incredible network and all the people through you and celebrate you and Luana who support our charity and the fundraisers you do, you are the queens.
Oh, see, love you. And I'm loving how you're picking that up. That's good. See, that's what I want. When it gets into your mind and your heart, then you feel you are that queen. And I'm like so glad that you said that. Yeah. But I mean, we work with each other hand in hand, and that's what it's all about. I mean, I just think about just the first time I met you. Every time I think of that story, I have to cry. I mean, I'm serious. I literally have to cry because you just, I call you angel, I call you queen, but you show up. It's not, some people just say, oh yeah, they this, they that, but you show up all the time, Serena, and you just have a heart of gold for people. And you showed me, you kind of straightened me out, just to let you know. Because I was all caught up in business, caught up in my work and stuff, and saying, hopefully I'm making a difference. And then I met you. And I was like, Barbara, you need to step back and do some checking.
Well, Barbara, you're actually like you're way too kind to me.
But you just have that passion, that heart of passion for people, no matter what, and you will fight to tooth and nails. This woman, I'm gonna tell people, I'm gonna tell on her. If you mess with what she's believed in, and the children and the educate, all that goes with helping humanity, everything, she will fight tooth and nails for the person. Period. She has no problem in saying, "Look, we got to get this. This is a need. We need whatever."
Yeah.
Anything necessary type of thing.
It is, it's the part of our show and what we do here is not only talk about the work that Help Heal Humanity is doing, but really spotlight other charities in the world doing great things, because charity work, it's exceptionally difficult. It's I think a lot of people think it might be easy, or you're helping people, it's a phenomenal job, it's so good, but there's a lot that comes with that as well. I think who I am is someone who loves and cares deeply. For me, it's never really been about me, which I think is why we've been successful. It's always been about the community, the people, the homeless, the at risk, the vulnerable, but then as it becomes a charity and, it gets harder and harder to maintain that. At one point I was operating out of the goodness of my heart, doing whatever I could. And I thought that was, fantastic. I saw the charity grow, and I think that that's beautiful. But then, to be honest, I'm a teacher. I'm not a businesswoman, or maybe I think I'm business savvy, but I'm really not, like a business lady. And I am not, maybe I'm a leader in the classroom and sometimes a leader out in the community when I'm serving and listening to the needs of the people. But running the charity, I mean, is for me probably one of the most difficult things I feel like I've ever done in my life, and so that's why it's great to highlight the great work that other charities are doing, because there are a lot of us around the world, and we all have different missions, and we have different areas that we want to focus on, but at the end of the day, we're all trying our best, and it's we're all trying to make the world a little bit kinder. And sometimes the behind the scenes stuff that doesn't get seen, or the project countries that we work in order to do some of the work that we do, we have to put up with a lot of harshness, sadness, injustices, and just kind of be okay with it in order for us to continue to do the work we do.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Serena, about, the behind the scenes, because you're right. There's a lot of things that go on, a lot of things that people don't understand to make a nonprofit move forward and continue to grow, getting the information, understanding how to run it. And on top of that, the biggest thing that you're always doing is trying to get help, either funds or volunteers and the time. And it takes a lot of work. And like you said, what keeps moving you with the needle with that is your heart. And that's what you say. You have a, because a lot of times you say, what, I'll forget this. That's easy to do. That's the easy route, right? To say, what, let me just go do this, because this is just a lot going on. People don't believe in this. Some people saying this, some people, all that's going on, all that noise, outside noise. But in your heart, that, no, this is a need, because somebody needs to do this, and that's what you take on. And that's what keeps you moving.
Yeah.
I feel like that keeps more. I mean, I know for myself, when I first joined Help Heal Humanity, and like I said, you were my selling point. I mean, when I met you, I said, okay, what can I do? What can I do? I need to do something. Wow. And then from on, but see, you just came with your heart, and I talked to other nonprofits, and I mean, I'm gonna say no names because I don't want to get in trouble with them, but it wasn't the heart part it was always either, okay, here's the link, where's your money, and then I didn't see anything. See, one thing about me, I want to see something. I'm not saying you got to show me every little thing every minute of the day, but at least give me like an overview of, okay, this is what we're doing, or we gave over here, or we did this for this person. But I didn't see anything. And I was like, I'm not feeling that. So I told myself the next nonprofit that I want to be a part of and give. I want to see that heart. And you showed up just like that. It didn't take long at all to sit there and say, this is what I want. I remember I told you, Serena, I said, Serena, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah, and you have been, and you've been loyal, you've been faithful, you've spread the word for us, you've started the podcast for us, you've held fundraisers for us, you've sponsored students for us, you've provided meal plans. So, I mean, you are an exceptional board member, because you put your hands in all the different places. And like, it's, in all of our meetings, it's like anytime any one of us are asking for help in any one of our departments, your hand's always up, always up, always up. So, I appreciate you. And I think we all do. And, I mean, there's a lot of positive advantages to our charity, like what sets us apart from other charities. We have no paid employees. That is incredible, but it's also exceptionally hard, right? Because the people who are coming from the goodness of their heart. Everybody has full-time jobs. Everyone are mainly, parents, just a various amounts of work, jobs, day jobs, night jobs, parenting, family, friends, community. So we're limited in how much we can give. I love that who we are. But again, like in some of the things that define us and separate us from other charities, they also, make the work harder. Right. So.
Yeah. And like you said, with the time, with just volunteers, you only have so much time that they're going to give, because they can only give, a certain portion, and you have to appreciate every minute that they do. And then it's a turnover too. Like you said, sometimes that turnover, you get new people as they go and come and everything. And that's why I told myself, I said, if anybody, I said, if I'm going to do this, and this is just a teachable, we're gonna have some teachable moments in a minute from Serena, but one thing that I have learned for myself is, and I told myself, if I ever get into a nonprofit organization, if I'm helping out, either if I start one or if I'm in one, that I want to be accountable to it, and I want to be consistent, because I know that that's one of the things that is hard part about having people consistently being there and being able to, have their time involved in that, because, it's not an overnight process. It takes time, and it's not going to be like 6 months. Okay, we're done, or 1 year, we're done, or 2. No. It's going to take a process. Yeah.
And given the current times and the situations and the circumstances, there was COVID. COVID obviously was a time of pivoting, time of change. And then there's post-COVID, which is actually, I sometimes feel post-COVID is harder than COVID, because now we're dealing with the effects of COVID, the inflation, right? The rise in just the economy in general, from food, groceries, transportation, mortgages, housing. So people don't have the money to be able to continue to support, their charities and their funds. And it's like you said, it's a constant evolution of growth and pivoting and trying to figure it out. And so, that's, I think that's part of the process, not only like in business and in charity, but just in life. It's the ebbs and the flows and the ups and the downs. And I think, trying to stay committed, trying to stay on the path, be grateful, and, continue to do your best, we do a lot of work in different places, and what we mainly do is help vulnerable communities. So when you're helping some of the most vulnerable people, you're dealing with a lot of mental health, poverty, addictions, hunger, hygiene, all these little things that are really, really big, like really, really big in their lives, right? So, I mean, there's a whole emotional process, a mental process. And so it's, just learning how to do it all, and to try to continue to do it all with love. And even though it's hard and it's difficult, it's not about us. It's about what we together can do for others.
Yes. Just real quickly, Serena, before you go into your teachable moment, I know you have something ready. You mentioned mental health, and this month is the month of mental health. In fact, I was just on another show earlier, and we did the whole thing about, mental health and what you think it is, and then what tips and things that you can give to others to help them, because that stigma a long time ago that people was put it to the side. Now with, now what's going on in the world, and then COVID kind of added to putting that little, like, not taking the blinders off and saying this is needed. Something needs to happen here. Mental health is real in everybody's life, and it's nothing to throw to the side. And there's too many people, just from suicide to you're hearing about these shooters to people depressed, people, it's just a whole gamma. I mean, you go from, with the whole thing. And adding to that, what you said with dealing with the vulnerable, countries and everything that's dealing with, they don't have access to what we have access to in the United States.
Yeah.
They can't just go to a fountain water, in the kitchen somewhere and just run water. There's nothing like that. I mean, there's the food, so that adds to the mental.
Oh,
and mental totally. And
definitely.
Let's think about it every day. I mean, I was thinking about the other day, Serena, and this is funny, but it's serious too. So I do some fast, my spiritual part of my life. We go on fast sometimes. So we went on a 2-day fast. That first day pass, I was cool because I'm used to doing them. Second day, I'm like, oh God, I just want a piece of cracker or something. And then I thought, what popped in my head? HHH. And I said, I was in my mind, it was like, Barbara? Like my barber was talking to Barbara. I'm not crazy, but I was like, my mind was saying, there's people that can't find a cracker anywhere. And after you get done with this fast, you can go straight to the store and get a cracker, a whole bunch of whatever. This is not going to kill you for another day of fasting and what you're trying to do, right? But it made me think about the people that cannot get that like we can. And it made me appreciate,
it's
even more.
So true. It's funny that you said that, because today I was in my yoga and my meditation, and I was thinking about the people of Haiti, because right now starvation and malnutrition is exceptionally high. And I was thinking, like, could you imagine, like, there is dangers in Haiti, and people have done, committed serious crimes like killing people for a bowl of rice. But can you imagine if you haven't eaten in 4 days? Like you're dehydrated, you're about to die. You don't know if you're going to get another meal for 5 days. Like you're willing to die for a bowl of rice, and and it's like I get hangry after I get hangry after like 5 hours. I love eating, right? Can you imagine for 5 days? And and the other thing is, like, when a lot of us are fasting here, we are drinking a lot of fluids. But then when you are in a country where you can't even get fluids, like we've had like a cholera outbreak in Haiti in our community because there is no clean water, because there is no sanitation. And with some of the restrictions that are happening in the country because of the political situation, people can't go out even if there is clean water, and there's a tap or a well to get water from. They have to cross boundaries that are unsafe to cross. So like, I mean, it is like the simplest things that I think that never even cross our minds. That is like literally live or die moment, and a like fight and flight at all times. And that, like you said, in mental health is huge.
Yeah, and they got to keep, just like I said, all that we said about them not having the food or anything like that, and they have to keep their mind in a some kind of way. They have to keep their mind in a positive attitude to keep moving forward. That's just like, oh my God,
Well, I think that's selfishly, I've always said, like, when we are in service to others, we are really healing ourselves, right? And in my experience, again, this is not everyone's, this is my personal experience. I found that whether it was, in Toronto, Canada, or Hamilton, or if it was in Chicago, or it was in Haiti or in Kenya, when you give people like the bare necessities, like you give them a bottle of water, you give them a sandwich, the gratefulness and the way that they look at you, and it's all of the like nonverbal language, the eyes and the face and the smile. And it's like, Like that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me going. It's, there's a lot of noise, as you were saying, but when you forget about the noise and you have that contact and you have that face-to-face experience and you see how much it's appreciated, how much it's valued. I'll tell you, in all my experience in Haiti, nobody will take a second sandwich or a second serving because they're, I
Wow.
have enough, and it's
Wow.
always about giving to the next person.
Wow.
Like the mentality, and that's, to me, is something so beautiful and so special. You
Yeah.
know, you have nothing, yet you are grateful, you're content, you're happy, and you're still thinking about others.
Isn't that amazing, Serena? I mean, they're so hungry, but they're still saying, no, I can't take another one because I got to make sure the next person has a serving.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what, I think the thing that keeps my heart pumping and my spirit alive is being on the grounds. Being on the grounds for me is my most favorite part of the charity, but unfortunately, being on the grounds doesn't provide the income or the funds to keep the programs going, right? So when they say, a charity takes a team, a village, it's every little thing count, which is, kind of what the teachable moment I think would be for today. Um,
Yeah. So share a little bit. I mean, we shared a lot, which is awesome. But I didn't know if you had any more points that you want to share for your teachable moment today.
well, I'd say for today's teachable moment, I think just because of what is going on in the world, and it's everywhere, like, Canada, the USA, in Europe with some of the wars, in China with, some of the politicians and what is happening there, in Haiti, who is our main project country. I think a lot of people, there's so much charity, there's so much to do, and I think a lot of people get discouraged. Like, I can't build the school, I can't build a hospital, I only have $2. Like, what is $2 going to do? And I think, service work is not about accomplishing a major goal or a major construction building. It's about the littlest things, because the charity, myself, and others wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't all these little baby steps. So it's in mental health, it's in the charity work. Every little step forward is moving us somewhere positive. And when we do have the setbacks, you understand that that's part of the process, and you get back up and you take that step again. So anyone who doesn't know how to help, who doesn't think they know how to help, who doesn't think they have the funds or the resources or the time, it begins with the littlest things, like a smile, like manners, like holding the door for somebody, just actually listening to somebody, which is something that I have to do more of, is to actively listen, like without a response, as sometimes as service workers, as charity workers, like we want to help and save everyone, but that is obviously not going to be the case. So sometimes it's just listening, and and listening can go a long way. Respecting others, kindness, manners, $2, giving up, depending on what your income scale is. I say, like, skip your coffee for one day, and like $2 adds up. And if everybody did actually buy into that and everybody did give $2, that would end up to be thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So I think, people sometimes don't know where to begin, don't know where to start, don't think that they have the time, the means, or the energy to make a difference, because people are looking to make a massive, significant, sustainable difference, which I think is needed. But it doesn't, it just starts with the littlest bits. So if I could give any words of wisdom to any human being, you're put on this earth for a purpose. And it doesn't matter what that purpose is, or your creative genius is, or your greatness is. Being kind and just giving a little bit can change the world. I always say, like, the whole world could change based on kindness. And it's, the people that are in these very unfortunate situations, the gratitude that they have and the love that they have and the awareness that they have is like, I'm not going to take 2 sandwiches because I know Jim, Harry, Mary, and Joe down there don't have a sandwich. If we all kind of operated with that mentality of community, of love, of, respect, positive changes can happen, and they can happen over long term to eventually lead to sustainable change. So just
Yeah,
give a little bit, just
absolutely.
a little bit, you know.
I'm glad that you made sure you pointed it out again and again, because you're right. We're so busy wanting to do this whatever, and if we don't do the big whatever, we don't do nothing.
Yeah,
Like you said, just take the small thing. That's doing. People don't understand that small thing is like the big thing.
yeah,
Because first of all, you started somewhere by saying, "I'm going to do at least this, be consistent in it, maybe every month. You get
yeah,
$5. I'm just throwing it out as an example. Give more though, but I'm sorry. But okay, let's just start with five. Say $5. Like you said, cup of coffee you missed 2 days out the week. That
yeah.
adds up. If you multiply that times whatever, and in the whole year, you know how much money that feeds a few children. So, and that's just $5.
It's
So I
wild.
I had to tell myself. I had to talk to. That's one of the things I had to talk to myself too. See, Barbara talking to herself again, saying, Barbara, stop trying to give all this money that you know you don't have right now. Give what you have. If
Yeah,
it's time, give the time. If it's the money, if it's not the money, because I'm like, I want to give $1,000 because I want to help them. In my mind, I'm thinking that, but you don't have 1,000. But do you have $5? Do you have $2? Do you have 20? That's what I had to keep in my mind, because you want to help so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
If you want to just give, throw the money to you, but if you don't have it, be realistic with yourself. Yeah.
And it's that mentality that shifted in you. If we can create that little shift, in others, it would be phenomenal what we can do. And just to go back, I am going to focus on Haiti because our charity, our
Yeah.
roots are in Haiti. We started in Haiti, and as an educator, was never like, I never in a million years thought, Serena Bufalino was gonna build a school in, of all countries, Haiti. Like, I feel like none of that was part of my life, my goal, my dream, my mission at all. It was, working with vulnerable communities, kids who had nothing in the city of Toronto, who on their way home from serving the homeless, because that's what we did. We tried to change our mental health. And I thought the best way was to teach them what is happening in the world. Because if they saw the true reality, they would realize, like, wait, my life is not as bad as I think it is. And oh my goodness, I can do something to help other people. So we served the homeless. We went to the women's shelters. And I saw that change my students like tremendously. And they started to gain empathy and compassion, and then they started to like feel like little leaders, which is something that they'd never comprehended to be part of their life. And when we were coming home from feeding the homeless, and there was the earthquake on the TV everywhere in 2010, the earthquake in Haiti, my students saw me sad. And Barbara, I get in trouble sometimes for being too happy, silly, positive. I've toned it down a lot lately, but like, if any of my students are watching right now, like all my students are like, Miss, like, you're weird, but they laugh at me, right? And they're all laughing at me. And they're like, Miss, who dances like that? I'm like, well, I do. And it's that little bit of joy. So when my students saw me sad, they're like, Miss, like, what? Why are you sad? What's going on? And I pointed to the screens, and it wasn't me who said it. It was the children who said, well, Miss B, well, why don't we help them? Why don't we do something to help them and make it better? Because you said we can do anything, and you told us every day if we just took one step forward, new opportunities would arise. So I felt like it was like my opportunity to prove to them that everything that I had been trying to teach them and mentor them was to put it into action, having absolutely no idea what the hell I was doing, and jumping on a plane and going to Haiti. As I said, like nothing in the world could have prepared me for what I did, even though I already worked in shelters and women's shelters and homeless shelters and mental health hospitals and jails. Like I was already immersed in that kind of 20-30% of the world that doesn't get seen. And then when I went to Haiti, I was like, whoa. And to be quite honest, I didn't even comprehend what I was doing in Haiti, because I just kind of rolled up my sleeves and was just, what the hell can I do? And it was the community. It was the people who said, if you're going to come here and you're going to do anything, you need to build a school. And I was like, build a school? Like, where the hell am I going to get money to build a school? You know, where am I? And then like, I'm like, how much is this school? And they're like 300,000. Like 300,000. Like, where is this money going to come from? How it's going to happen? And I think at that point I surrendered and I said, I'm going to try this. And I gave my heart, my soul, my passion. I probably lost a lot of a lot of things, you know, like the relationships and, you know, advancing in other areas of my life, because I was so focused on that, and still not knowing what I was doing, not having, you know, a profession in any of that. I trusted the universe, and every day I took a little step, and in taking those little steps, other opportunities opened and other opportunities opened. So I think, you know, again, speaking about mental health and speaking about helping others, I think when we can fully surrender and understand that I'm here for a purpose that is beyond myself.
Yes.
And trust that process, then it's really, like I say, it's a miracle. Like how we did what we did in Haiti is a miracle. You know, now the mission is to sustain what we're doing in Haiti. Right?
Yes. Well, you know, the biggest thing, and I'm going to go to our sponsor, which is HHH. Before we go there, I wanted to say what you mentioned about how when the children were like, well, how can we help? What can we do? You told us. See, I love how they turned it back. You told us we can do anything, Ms. B. And you, in your mind, you're like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how this is going to even start. But all I know right now is my students is coming back with my words that I told them, that we can do anything we want to do if we just go for it. And that set the charge. That set the tone and everything. You know, and then when I feel like when you have that mindset like that, that's when things start coming to you in the universe, as I always call it, to help you get to where you're that goal that you're trying to do. Because like you said, you didn't know where to start with that. And look what happened. You built a whole school. And you went to Hades. And you were down there with everybody. I mean, the same person is like, okay, how are we going to do this? I know you're like, I can't tell the kids that because I don't want them to think we can, because I told them they can. So, but in your mind, you're probably like, okay, now how are we going to do this? And you did it, you know, so amazing. So,
and we're still trying to do it, you know, and I know, you know, I think I know you want to go and break to the sponsor.
Yeah, we're going to go to the sponsor real quick, but
and I think we're still trying to do it. And I think what it is now that is making it more difficult is, you know, a bit of that go get 'em attitude, that passion, that drive, that I'm not going to stop, I'm going to make this happen, kind of gets, things get in the way. You know what I mean? Work gets in the way, you know, trying to raise the funds, you know, especially during times like this, we've had the biggest decrease in fundraising since we've existed, you know, and then for the first time in my life ever with a charity, I've allowed some fear-based behaviors to come in. You know, and again, going back to mental health, I have to trust that the money will come in. I have to trust that people will show up. I have to trust that people will care. But I think the last couple of years maybe jaded me a little bit because of what is happening in the world and how we are responding to what is happening in the world. So,
that was good.
Yeah.
You know what? when we go to a sponsor, I want you to hit a little bit more on that about responding. Because I always say, you know, you're either going to respond how you're responding to any situation. So let's go to our sponsor, and then I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Yes. And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, you know, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last
coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today. My name is Serena Bufalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
You know, every time I see that, every time I play that, it always hits here. And you know, I never asked you, Serena, before we go into the response thing that we were talking about earlier. When did that play take place, and what were you doing? I mean, where was the food and everything? Because I never asked you that question.
So that was an amazing Christmas. We did the 10 days of Christmas, and 3 of the days we partnered with Feed It Forward, which is one of the biggest food rescuers in the city of Toronto. We were at the Tibetan Center, which was a beautiful, beautiful space. And that warehouse was filled with food packages. And we had about 15 volunteers doing 8-hour shifts for 3 days straight, all of our HHH volunteers. And we were putting together Christmas packages for families. And so we were doing the meals for the family. So it had the turkey, it had the mashed potatoes, the vegetables, the gravy, all of the dressings to have a nice home cooked meal. And then there was packages for the youth that had like toys, CDs, a lot of things donated by the community. Yeah. And then on the other section of the warehouse, they were actually preparing meals, because after the shift, we went out into the community and we were putting about, during the holidays, we were putting about 500 meals a day out onto the streets. However, throughout the pandemic and in partnership with Feed It Forward, there were some months where we were putting out 20,000 meals in Ontario, right? And again, all of the work, it's wild sometimes when I look at the history of HHH. So that was during COVID. That was 2 years ago, because we were wearing our masks. So that was just 2 years ago, and heavily, our charity is primarily based on supporting education and, educating people and helping people come out of poverty, helping people pay fees to go to school, to educate themselves, to, have literacy. But during the pandemic, we pivoted tremendously to food insecurities, and Help Heal Humanity was really successful on the grounds. I mean, to this day, we have people asking us to continue doing that. Mm-hmm. However, part of running a charity and having a small team is we can't do everything, right? And
I wish we can multiply each other, But yeah. I mean, thank you because I always said, I gotta ask Serena, when did that happen? Where were they at? And because it's just amazing how you had everybody just, and then you just telling the story of it and seeing you packing the food for the people. But when you're talking about after you did all that, this blows my mind every time you tell me stuff here. And then you still all went out.
Yes. Yeah. During the holidays, I have to say, and some board members sometimes say I'm insane, which maybe I am. Um,
I love your insanity.
yeah, thank you. During the holidays, it's a lot of work, a ton of work. Nobody asks me or our team to put in the work, but because I see what's on the grounds and I see what is needed, and I know from experience that I'm able to do something about it, I can't live with myself if I don't. And for me, the holidays are the hardest time of the year for families, for people who are living on low income or poverty, because there's this massive expectation, to buy gifts, to do this, to do that, and people and families can't do that. So I really try to do my best to, obviously can't impact everybody, but these little pockets of community,
Yeah.
I think we do a phenomenal job. And, when it comes to the local shelters in my hometown, I am pretty blessed and privileged that a lot of people put their trust and faith in us, and they donate during that holiday season.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you, has it been continuing? I know that was COVID part and everything, but has that continued on when the holidays come?
Yep, yep. Like this past Christmas, we we had some, again, I'm going to say Highview partners. I'm going to call them out because they are incredible. I mean, we took over 3 different shelters, and we did not only all the wish lists of the kids living in the shelters, but Highview partners went above and beyond and did all the mothers as well. And like I'm not talking like a $25 gift card. Highview Partners collected enough money and believed in this one particular shelter and what we were doing, where every kid's gift was about $200, and
Wow. So
and the baskets and the things that we gave to the moms were like $125. That
yeah.
would have never been possible without those donors and that business who believes in giving back a certain percentage of their proceeds to their community. And like I said, I'm a little bit in the fear-based behavior right now, which I need to, shift my mentality and trust that there are more businesses like Highview Partners, that there are more, donors in the world that, even though they are dealing with a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of inflation, that, you know, again, every little bit counts. And, and let's just keep rallying and stay positive and keep focused on the goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, before we sum it up here, I want to go back because I don't want you to forget this, because it's something that is still touching my heart when you say, the way you respond to things. And you kind of answered it in a lot of ways as you were talking. And just a minute ago, when, you respond to things, just like, okay, let's just use an example about you saying, your fear thing is kind of like, it's been going on the last 2 years. But there's a way to you can react to it or you can respond to it. And I think we have to do that in every aspect of our life, not just nonprofit, being in a nonprofit organization, but every aspect. And I have taken that on in my life to say, okay, Barbara, as soon as anything, I don't care, good, bad, ugly, whatever. I'm like, okay, stop. How are you responding to this? How are you going to respond? You going to react real quickly and do something crazy and do something that's going to cause more damage? Or are you going to respond and look at the bigger picture and say, okay, how am I going to respond to this? Because I need to make sure my response is not going to cause any effect in other people's lives. And then we got to be with each other. You're dealing, it's okay. You've been handling this for a long time, Serena. It's time for us as a community within Help Heal Humanity, as the board, everything, to say, you know what, we got you too. You had us believing, you were on the grounds, you were doing all this. Now that you're dealing with, some things, and it happens because we're human. Now we got to have your back. So that's what has to happen too. How do you respond to things, and then having each other's back when one person is not feeling or not seeing something right now because it's just whatever. Mental health is real. So
mental health is so real. I think having coping mechanisms, whether it was in the classroom with my students, somebody recently asked me, how the transformations happen in the classroom. So I'm dealing with kids who have been kicked out of school. They're not operating in a mainstream school. I'm dealing with students who are in like correction, jail, open custody, mental health hospitals, gangs, living in shelters, foster care. So, it's really hard, vulnerable students that I'm dealing with. And I end up like studying them like as if they were my kids. And you get to understand, and this is with everybody in life, to understand your triggers, understand the things that make you crazy, the things that drive you, the things that make you very reactive, which again is something that we're always working on, and I am too. And then have your coping skills. And on every student's desk, on the one side would be their triggers, on the other side would be their coping skills. And so when I would start to teach them how to change that behavior, I would say, look, number 3 is happening. You're getting triggered. You're getting upset. Go and do one of those coping skills. For me, my coping skills are yoga, nature, bike riding, the gym, meditation. I need those in my life. For me, that's a non-negotiable. I cannot go without those because, like, forget about being hangry. I'll be way more than hangry if I don't have my coping skills and my strategies, and you have to use those. And so that's with everything, like I said, with my students in transformation and mental health, is to understand what upsets you, how to deal with that when you are upset, how to respond, and then do your best to move forward in a positive way. And for sure, there's always going to be setbacks. But when you understand that setbacks are actually lessons and you accept them as positive reactions, again, with the reaction, if you understand that a failure is actually a positive reaction to doing something in another direction, then you can keep yourself, in at least a healthy mindset. And a healthy mindset is essential for everything that we do in our lives.
Yes. And I was just going to say this, and I'm going to let you just give a little bit of what's coming up with HHH before we close out. But I always look at this now, and it took time. Again, I keep telling people it takes time to get to this point in your life. I look at setbacks and things that happen in my life that goes crazy as, okay, you know what? That's another lesson I need to learn, or maybe I didn't learn it the first time, or I'm going to do something different. How am I going to react to that? See, I test myself because something happens, and it's like the first thing you want to do is just, but then I'm like, okay, Barbara, you talking about to react or respond? How you going to respond to that? You telling everybody else that they should respond a certain way. Now something hit you in your life, or something says something crazy in your life, or something's not going on right in your life. How are you going to respond? So I'm like, that always gives me those opportunities, to do what I need to do, and then see how what comes out of it. And sometimes you might not get to, you might respond, and it might get worse.
Yeah.
So I know you've been there, and then that's when the coping skills goes like this. It gets even bigger. But yeah. So with all the teachable moments we had from Mrs. Serena here, the Queen, and just talking, having a conversation, the biggest thing we wanted to really make sure we came on, because like I said, we haven't been live for a while, and we're doing some different things within this podcast. One thing I want to say, I'm going to let Serena take it to talk a little bit about what's going on with HHH moving forward, is I want to ask people, if you have any type of story that you're helping people, or some kind of way that, in your heart, there's something that you really believe in for others, and to encourage anybody, just reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, do Messenger, and come with your stories. We want to hear that. People need to hear that. It's like they say, testimonials. So if you have any testimonial story that you want to share with us, that's really that you've been, working on, or you've been struggling with, or whatever, come on the show and let's talk.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, we need to hear that. We're not alone. We're all together here. So it's good to hear everybody else's, what they're dealing with, or what they try, or what they're doing in the world as being that lighthouse. So Serena, tell them some things that's coming up with HHH.
Well, we have, we are continuously committed to our school project in Haiti and our sponsorship programs in Haiti. And you talk about stories. Recently we wanted to show our audience and highlight that, some of the work that we're doing in Haiti. So we had a lot of mothers For March was Women's Month. In April we were focusing on women in leadership, and now we're focusing on mental health. But we had a lot of moms come forth and give their stories about how, they're single, they're poor, they don't have jobs, they don't have roof over their heads, they don't have money, they can't feed their children, they wish their children could go to school, but they can't. And, some of them have said, like, they've prayed and prayed and prayed, and, the government didn't come to help them, but God heard their prayers and HHH came to help them. And
Wow.
the testimonies of the parents who are so dependent on us to provide education to their kids, like they said, like, I can sleep at night. Like, that's one worry. Like, the biggest worry as a parent is to put the children in school so that they can be educated and get out of poverty and, and try and have a better life. We would never be able to afford that. But thanks, like, again, like, some of the testimonies have made me cry because they, like, God answered their prayers and HHH showed up, and, our team on the ground, who is run mainly by Lion, like, to them, Lion and HHH is their God, and those are the stories that motivate us and inspire us. And, with everything that is happening in the world, a lot of people are going to focus on what is happening in their country. So on top of Haiti being one of the poorest countries in the world, people are hesitant to give to Haiti. So we have our upcoming 4th annual Bike Ride for Humanity. Woo, woo. We love the bike ride, right? Any cyclists out there, anybody who likes to ride their bike, anybody who is part of a cycling team, anybody who just wants a purpose to accomplish a physical goal. September 16th, we are doing our 4th annual Bike Ride for Humanity. We're raising funds. We're trying to get sponsors. We're going to have big celebration parties. So we have our Bike Ride for Humanity coming up. We continue to have our educational programs happening to inspire youth to be the change. And so basically, our main focus right now is, again, to keep our students in school, because we really want to continue to help the community, help the parents, and help the students. So, we're looking for help. We're looking for riders. We're looking for support. We're looking for to make that one of the biggest events so far in terms of the bike ride. So that's one of our main things for sure. And again, just trying to help others and, feed people, give hygiene products to the people on the streets, give out meals, and keep some of these kiddies in these communities in school. And we cannot do it alone. We need everyone out there. If you can't give, share the platform, talk about us, like us. Like we said, if you don't have the money, just spread the word, like us.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your friends, your family, your community, and let's just continue to work together to help heal humanity.
Yes. Thank you. Well put, as always, Queen. And just to let everybody know again, we're always going to keep you abreast on what's going on with HHH, because, we want you to know what's going on. And if you want to be a part of it, like we said, be it time, be it if you put money towards us, that help, all that helps. Being a volunteer, if you have ideas, we're always looking at how to do fundraisers and everything. So we're here, we would love for you to be a part of that. And then also we're going to be coming back to spotlight other nonprofits, because we're a family. I always look at nonprofit as a family, because we're all doing what? The one thing. We're trying to be the lighthouse of the world and help others in this world to to be better, the next step in their life. So, I love HH. I love everybody that's trying to help somebody else that's in need. So again, we come on first and third Thursday of the month, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That's Serena's time. I know it's bedtime almost for her right now. But I do appreciate her. We're being co-hosts together on this show. If you are interested, either if you're a nonprofit and you want to come on for a few minutes, talk about your organization, we're giving you that platform. Or if you have a story to tell, please come on and tell us that story. We're going to be having some people, we're going to be reaching out to some people within HHH. Serena just talked about one of the corporate companies that helped out. Hopefully we can get one of them to come and talk about it. So when you hear, see, people need to sometimes hear things and say, oh, okay, I get it. I get this. I understand. Or, I want to help. And if it's not HH, it could be anywhere else. As long as you're helping. As long as you're helping somebody. So with that, Serena, any last words before we sign off until our next show in the next few weeks?
I just want to say thank you to you for keeping this going, for starting this, for bringing all the spirit, all the love. Thank you to our viewers who stay, who show up, who support, who believe, and, just keep your chin up, keep your smile, and, love with all your heart.
Oh, love with all your heart. She said it. I'm not saying nothing else. See you at the next HHH show. Bye.
Bye.